Well, let's jump into our final segment for this episode, and let's try to quickly get through it. It is our Kaiju Clash.
Kaiju Clash! Fight!
So, we talked about the results from the last Kaiju Clash, being that Biolante won and Legion lost. So, following our rule of loser goes first, and the next time, I'm going first on this one.
Okay, go for it.
So, this time around, we're pitting Gigan against Gamera, but only the Showa versions of the characters. So I have Gigan. Gigan is cybernetically enhanced, which means he is just built for fighting. He is armored to the beak and full of sharp weapons and sharp edges, and he is so much fun to watch. He's very fast for his size, and he's able to draw blood from Godzilla, something that no other kaiju was able to do before that. He survived a fight with Godzilla twice and was alive to tell the tale. So I'm going with Gigan. Gigan would own Gamera, the Showa Gamera.
Okay. Yeah, and we did set those stipulations. It had to be the Showa Gamera, because if we're speaking realistically, if I would have chosen Heisei Gamera, there would be no contest. So you're saying that Gigan was the first kaiju to ever draw blood from Godzilla. But Godzilla, as much as I like the big guy, doesn't have this massive carapace on his back. He has a durable hide, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have this armor guarding him on his body. And Gamera is able, he is fully able, and we have seen it even in the Showa era, he is able to take a beating and still keep coming. What the main benefit, the main ability that Gamera has that I really feel like would put him over the top and propel him to victory here is the fact that he never gives up. Even though it is a trope of the franchise, I will admit that Gamera typically loses the first battle, and Gamera has bled a lot. I'm not arguing
yes.
that. I'm not going to argue that Gamera has bled a lot, but Gamera is also very durable, and he also has the ability to heal himself. We've seen it. We saw it in Gauss. We saw it in in his battle with Barugon. We saw it even in, I believe, in his battle with Giron. He has the ability to recover from pretty devastating attacks. And I would assume the way he would tackle Gigan is using a similar approach as to what Anguirus did in Godzilla vs. Gigan, where he would use that carapace to his advantage and just ram Gigan as hard and as much as he possibly can to knock him off of his feet, and then eventually use his fire breath to burn him alive. And if we all know, let's just be honest, Showa Gigan is not the bravest kaiju of the bunch either. I imagine that Showa Gigan, if met with any kind of opposition at all from Gamera, would turn tail and run fairly quickly. Gigan is an opportunist. He is not a leader among the kaiju monster army, however you want to say that. Gigan is a follower. He is just a foot soldier. He's a hired gun. He's a mercenary. But you know what? He's not a very brave mercenary. Let's just say that. So I would say that if Gamera puts up any fight whatsoever, Gigan, for lack of a better term, is going to chicken out.
I like the chicken reference. Big chicken. What you consider cowardice, I consider tactical retreat. We're talking about a kaiju that survived fighting Godzilla twice. That is something that not many kaiju can put on their resume. Gamera, yes, has the carapace. The carapace has been shown to be able to be punctured by sharp weapons. In Gamera versus Gigan, when Gigan attacks Gamera with his big bladed nose, it is shown to actually draw blood from his shell. So that shell is not as durable as you'd like to think. And like I said, Gigan is full of sharp edges. He has that saw blade in his stomach that can rip through Gamera like nothing else. Another thing that Gigan has going for him is his ability to fly. He can fly,
So
but
does
not only can he
Gamera
fly.
can fly too. Don't forget that.
Yes, Gamera can fly, but Gamera flies a lot slower than Gigan does, because Gigan is able to travel from another galaxy to Earth relatively quickly, whereas Gamera had trouble keeping up with a spaceship in Gigan that was just flying to another planet within the same solar system. So Gigan is definitely faster. So I feel like Gamera would be overwhelmed with Gigan's speed as he flew by and used that chainsaw blade stomach thing to just rip right into Gamera.
Okay, so all Gamera has to do is just shell up. And I know that's a cop-out. I get that. But really, all Gamera has to do here is retreat inside of his shell and pick his moments. And I really think that Gamera will choose the right moment to latch his turtly claws into Gigan and just rip that beak right off of his face. Because let's face it, Travis, the only reason Gigan even stood a chance against Godzilla is because he had King Ghidorah right there by his side. And the only reason he had a chance, I will say this, and I will stand by it, is because he had Megalon right there by his side as his tag team partner. Gigan cannot win a battle on his own. He has to have help. I do not believe whatsoever that Gigan has the guts or the fortitude to withstand a one-on-one assault from a gigantic flying fidget spinner like Gamera.
See, I view it as Gigan held his own in those fights despite being teamed up with Megalon. Because to me, Megalon was more of a hindrance than he was an ally.
That may be an outlier. That may actually be an outlier situation. Whereas I will concede a little bit that Megalon was not very helpful. But he was helpful enough. Where his attacks seemed way more effective at bringing down Jet Jaguar or Godzilla than even Gigan's did.
Well, we ultimately cannot come to a consensus between the two of us, so we are going to have to leave it up to our listeners to make the decision. So, Michael, how about you let the listeners know how they can help us decide who wins in this epic battle?
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the clip, we're going to take this portion of the episode, we're going to upload it to YouTube as its own separate clip. And let's just say if you're not subscribed to our Kaiju Weekly YouTube channel, you're missing out, because you're missing clips just like this that we only put on YouTube. We're not making a separate podcast. We're not making bonus episodes for these Kaiju Clashes. We're only putting them on YouTube. So you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get these videos or to get these audio. Anyway, we're going to post the audio to YouTube. We're going to post it to the Kaiju Groupie Facebook group along with a public poll. And if you're a part of the Kaiju Groupie Facebook group, you can vote between either the Showa Gigan or the better choice, which is the Showa Gamera. So if you're a part of that group, I recommend you join. It's a fantastic group. We do a lot of fun things there just like this, but we're going to post that poll to the Kaiju Groupie Facebook group, as well as we're going to post a poll to the Kaiju Weekly Twitter page, and you're going to be able to vote there. We take results from both Facebook and Twitter, and we combine them together to get an overall score. And that, I feel like that is the best way we can handle it, to get a better consensus of what the community is saying, because not everybody who follows us on Twitter is in the Kaiju Groupie Facebook group and vice versa. So it's a good cross section of the fan base to get a good representation of who they think would win this epic battle between Showa Gamera and Showa Gigan. So please look out for that. Again, subscribe to the Kaiju Groupie. I'm sorry, not the Kaiju Groupie. Subscribe to the Kaiju Weekly YouTube channel. Join the Kaiju Groupie Facebook group and follow Kaiju Weekly on Twitter for all of these polls and fun information so that you can be a part of this conversation and ultimately propel me and Gamera to victory.
Boo. 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 Okay.
That's what you get. That's what you get for letting me do the promo, Travis. Maybe you should do it next time yourself.